Good evening, snitches. I'm the Animaniac, and it's October again. Time for another round of Halloween reviews. Let's begin by revisiting a rockin' joint with Mickey's House of Villains. Based on the show Disney's House of Mouse, the villains of the Disney Vault take over the club and kick out the original hosts on Halloween night, and our friends now have to fight to get their club back. I reviewed House of Mouse back in February of this year and I enjoyed it. The theme song was fun, its animation was pretty, hot shot how it looks. It was fun to spot how many Disney references are in the show and its humor was good. And because of the movie's format being similar to an episode of the show, I'll talk about what goes on in the club first and then the cartoons they play throughout the movie. Now the animation in these club segments and the cartoons produced around this time, there are also several cartoons from the Golden Age in this movie, are of similar quality, even reusing several sequences and shots from the show, like Jafar handing Max the golden scarab to that treasure cave entrance before he goes in, shots of the crowd applauding the cartoons, including panning shots where the characters are in 3D environments, and the colors used in these segments are more vibrant than usual. These segments were where I came across the one problem with this film. Too many cartoons and not enough in the club plot to really care about. Which is a damn shame because it does have a very entertaining idea with Jafar and the other villains taking over the club, but just guess when they go back to that point. The 40-minute mark in this 1 hour movie. And even then they sing a very meh musical number and throw the gang out of the club. Apparently not learning from how they were taken down in their own movies. But it is Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy, and Goofy they kicked out, so... A regular half-hour episode of House of Mouse has a pretty good club-to-plot cartoon ratio where you get the necessary time to be invested in what's happening behind the scenes while watching the cartoons. The overabundance of cartoons in this movie leave the club segments so underdeveloped that you can cut them out and you wouldn't miss them a whole lot. And Donald Duck trying to scare the patrons was a joke I didn't find funny and I didn't care about how it paid off. So what about the cartoons in this movie? The first one this movie introduces us to is Trick or Treat from 1952, directed by Jack Hanna, where a witch named Hazel helps Huey, Dewey, and Louie get back at their Uncle Donald after giving them firecrackers and dunking them in water. The tricks by Hazel were fun, especially what she made Donald do when she bewitched his feet trying to get the key out of his stomach. And Donald's own tricks on his own nephews, as well as Hazel at the beginning of the cartoon, are good as well. A solid cartoon to start off the movie with. In Mickey's mechanical house, we see the Disney icon get fed up with living in his run-down, noisy house and decides to buy a shiny new automated one. But when the house makes him stay in bed when he's too excited to sleep, that's when he decides he doesn't like living there anymore. Honestly, if Mickey just went to bed like the house wanted him to, he could have called in a tech guy in the morning to show him how to readjust its settings. I guess that's something the real estate agent forgot to tell him. Bloody weasel. Mickey outsmarting the robot trying to put him back in bed was okay. I wasn't expecting the degree of destruction when he destroys the remote. The ending where he goes back to that dump of an old house was dumb. The backgrounds feel very UPA inspired, very fitting for the futuristic looking house. This one was okay. How to Haunt a House is a how-to cartoon starring Goofy where he becomes a ghost off-screen from a car accident. He shows us how a ghost can haunt someone with a narrator explaining how to do it properly while Goofy bungles it up in his usual fashion. Of all the cartoons in this movie that were produced around the time the show came out, has the most fluid animation, like the kind that belongs in the theaters. This is probably the only one to have its living characters have their outlines match the colors they sported instead of the black outlines that in this cartoon were reserved for the ghosts to give the audience a distinction between which one was living and which one was dead. The gags are very expected for this style of cartoon. The best one is Goofy trying to turn out the lights while Donald is trying to take a bath. This one's okay. Next is Lonesome Ghosts from 1937, directed by Bill Gillette, where Mickey, Donald, and Goofy play ghost hunters who are called to exterminate troublemaking ghosts from a haunted house because the ghosts are bored. The ways they spook Mickey, Donald, and Goofy are great. Mickey chasing one of them to a door, ending in them flooding the area temporarily, Donald trying to fight the ghost but failing to beat him up, and Goofy taking his sweet time and realizing his own reflection is a ghost, are all fantastic routines. The filter that's used on the ghosts' voices makes them hard to understand, and how our ghost hunters accidentally scare off the ghosts is a classic, but it's a pretty convincing bit. Another great cartoon. Set to a piece of music, Dance of the Goofies is about a fairy who looks like Goofy trying to rescue his boss from a kid who collects bugs. The gags in this one are The best one is probably the fairies getting caught in the flowers when they close them with their wands, and the screw-up fairy rescuing his boss, escaping the bratty kid who likes to mess around with bugs is decently tense. This one was just okay. Donald Duck and the Gorilla, from 1944, directed by Jack King, has a gorilla escape from a local zoo and break into the house of Donald and his nephews, and they have to survive long enough for them to find a way to subdue the ape. While he and his nephews try to avoid the gorilla in their house, Donald getting his tail feathers burnt by accident from Huey is funny to see him in pain like that, and him running away from the gorilla while his nephews think of a way to pacify it is both tense and a little funny. When I was looking up when some of the older cartoons in this movie came out, I was surprised to find that this one was supposed to be a horror short. Maybe it's because the gorilla was designed to look goofy and intimidating simultaneously. This is pretty good. Donald's Halloween scare has his nephews plan to get back at him for stealing their candy on Halloween night. It's a similar short to Trick or Treat, minus the witch Hazel. The nephew's scheme to get back at Donald was decent, and the backgrounds are appropriately spooky, even making me think they look like a Van Gogh painting. And the last cartoon of the movie is Hansel and Gretel. In this telling of the classic fairy tale, Mickey and Minnie play the roles of the title characters who stumble across the gingerbread house of the witch who wants to eat them. This short has no dialogue, so the story is told through the characters with, I'll just put it up later, playing over the action. This is not only a gorgeous cartoon, visually it's a very well thought out one. Mickey and Minnie's solid colors make these two stand out against the light and sugary backgrounds of the house and the forest surrounding it, and even when they would get more surreal when they try to escape the witch. The short is a very epic and suspenseful one when it gets more surreal with its environments. Mickey's House of Villains was a decent collection of cartoons, but the club segments that linked them together were weak. Really, you guys should just watch the cartoons by themselves. I've put together a playlist of them for you. Link is in the icon above, and the description, and in the pinned comment below. Because of them, this movie was a gay old time. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment your own thoughts on the movie or show below, and if you want to stay updated on future videos and see some cool artwork, be sure to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, and DeviantArt, and be sure to subscribe to my backup channel over on BitChute. The links are in the description, and if you want to be the first to know when a new video will be up, ring that bell after you subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.